aliens. So, Sir Reginald Hargreaves is one of the most fascinating characters in comic book history. Little is known about the man who goes by the moniker the Monacle, but throughout this video we're going to be breaking down everything that we've managed to gather about the mysterious figure. This includes his origins, history, and our theories on where things could be going in the future. Obviously, there's going to be heavy spoilers here, so if you haven't had a chance to check out the second season yet, then I highly recommend that you turn off now. With that out of the way, welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Definition. Now let's get into our breakdown of Sir Reginald Hargreaves. Okay, so on the surface, Hargreaves seemed like an eccentric billionaire that specialised in a number of things. The character was a famous scientist, inventor, Nobel Prize winning Olympic gold medalist that was also an expert in the advancement of chimpanzees. Get you a man that can do everything. Now Hargreaves amassed a fortune by purchasing a business that specialised in producing umbrellas all the way back in 1928, and this funded his endeavours over the years. Reginald was a philanthropist that wished to save the world, and he did this by adopting 7 children, all blessed with superpowers. The character trained them at his home, eventually forming the Umbrella Academy, and together they stopped several supervillains around the planet. Hargreaves was incredibly cruel to them, and instead of giving them names, he gave them numbers. These numbers were assigned to them in order of how powerful they were. However, as time went on, it actually became more and more clear that this was actually their level of obedience to him. If anything, the power order was the opposite, with number 1, aka Luther, being the least powerful, and number 7, aka Vanya, being the most. They were met with worldwide acclaim, but over the years, they slowly started to turn against him due to the cruelty that he carried when caring for them, and because of this, he seemingly died alone. However, things go far deeper with the character, and throughout the show and comic book series, we learn that Hargreaves is actually an alien. Now, very little is told to us in the show about where the character comes from or what drove him to our planet. In the comics, the information is just as ambiguous. However, we do know that his home was devastated by nuclear war. In the 10th episode of season 1, we catch a brief glimpse of the character on his homeworld as he says farewell to his dying lover. It's clear that he wants to stay, but she realises that the world needs him, and thus he departs, taking her white violin with him. This is a gift that he would later give to Vanya, and though there's little told to us in this moment, I think it carries a lot of weight with it. Hargreaves was clearly shocked to the core by the war that had torn his homeworld apart, and I believe that he vowed to not allow this fate to befall another planet. Thus, he travelled to Oz and began to mould history in a way that would avert the apocalypse and save us from ourselves. Hargreaves travelled across the vastness of space with his bodyguard Abijat on board his private vessel the Minerva. Now, the name of this actually comes from the Roman goddess Minerva, who was known for her wisdom and sponsoring of the arts. This is of course something that Hargreaves himself would take up, and thus him coming across space in this symbolises the character bringing wisdom and advancements to our planet. As mentioned earlier, Hargreaves purchased an umbrella business in 1928, and from here he built his fortune. We learn in the 1950s and 60s that the character began to contribute to our space divisions, and his advancements led to humanity developing several new technologies. With a scientist known as Grace, he started to experiment on a monkey called Pogo, and this advanced the simian far beyond the usual capabilities of chimpanzees. Hargreaves started a relationship with Grace, and she began to care for him and Pogo greatly. Though unintentional, together their work started the space race to the moon between America and Russia, and this eventually led to the Cold War. It seemed that, no matter what, once a civilization became advanced enough, they would inevitably descend into war, and thus he started to work with shadowy organisations to control things from behind the scenes. Reginald wished to gain access to the dark side of the moon, and thus he needed those that could help him. It's during this time that he joined the Majestic 12. Now Grace discovered this and broke off their relationship, and Hargreaves would later build an android in her image to take care of him and his family. We'll talk about this in just a bit, but first I want to focus on the Majestic 12. In case you don't know, the Majestic 12 is actually a group that are rumoured to exist in our own world, and for decades there have been conspiracy theories surrounding the mysterious members that make it up. The Majestic 12 is rumoured to be a committee of high-ranking scientists, military leaders, and government officials that control world events and also hide the existence of UFOs. The group was apparently formed all the way back in 1947 under the orders of President Truman, and after recovering an alien spacecraft, they began to cover up the truth from humanity. With them, Hargreaves started to work on certain technological advancements. However, he cut ties with them after realizing they were complicit in the assassination of JFK. The group threatened to reveal his identity unless he kept giving them tech, and thus he was forced to kill them. After this point, the group faded into myth and legend and were not heard from again. Hargreaves kept his head down, living with Pogo until 1989. It's at this point he emerged once more after learning that 43 women had mysteriously given birth to children after showing no signs of pregnancy. Though Hargreaves tried to adopt all of them, he was only able to procure 7, and these became known as the Umbrella Academy. Now, though this is never confirmed, it is possible that Hargreaves was actually the cause behind the pregnancies, and that due to his experiments on simians, he was able to manufacture children with great gifts. This has never been confirmed, but it's just a theory I've had since we found out that he was an alien in the comic books, and obviously let me know if you agree or disagree with me. Anyway, Hargreaves wished to use the group to avert the apocalypse, but due to his treatment of them, they left the academy, all except for Luther, who carried out a mission to the moon, though this eventually turned out to be pretty pointless. Now, Hargreaves committed suicide, hoping that the children would reunite to stop Armageddon, but they ended up causing it, and in a last-ditch attempt to right their wrongs, they travelled back to the 60s. We see that, in this alternate timeline, the group track him down, and he actually manages to go head-to-head with Diego. It's at this point that I want to talk about his powers and how they operate, as there's a lot of grey areas surrounding them. So as you can guess, a guy that's alive from 1928 and seemingly doesn't age must be using either the best anti-wrinkle cream in the world, or he's immortal. He might have a penchant for some oil of Olay, but Reginald is actually the latter. He does not age, or at least appear to. This may be because of time on our world working differently to his, but in the span of a century, he barely changes at all. He's also a master at combat, and due to his abilities in athletics, he's a very skilled acrobat. Reginald also possesses a genius level IQ, and because of this, he's created a wealth of technology and serums that improve animals and humanity when applied. Hargreaves is a master assassin and possesses an expertise in long-range weapons as well as hand-to-hand ones. This makes him deadly in every scenario, but he only ever kills if he believes it to be for the good of mankind. So yeah, basically the guy's an alien Einstein mixed with Batman. Batman from the movies, you know the one that doesn't mind killing people. Now in the alternate timeline, he met with the Umbrella Academy, but due to thinking that they were all screw-ups, he decided not to adopt them in the future. This caused the Sparrow Academy to be formed, and as Reginald had not met Ben, he still adopted him, and in this timeline, the character did not kill himself due to the new academy never leaving him. Now, it's clear that he's taken a step back and that Ben is now the leader. Whether intentional or not, I'm hoping that this shows things have changed. In the original timeline, he treated all of the members terribly, except for probably Luther, who he only saw as useful because he obeyed him so much. Hargreaves mentally tortured Vanya, making her believe that she was nothing because he feared her power. In the case of Ben, he found his abilities disgusting, but it appears here that Ben has used this to his advantage. Now, we don't know that for definite, but we will of course find out more in Season 3. Now, as for the dark side of the moon and what's up there, it is possible that there's an interdimensional portal, and this does tie in with the comics. The third volume, titled Hotel Oblivion, centers around an interdimensional prison, which Reggie uses to trap supervillains in. It is possible that he's attempting to get to the moon to learn of this, and I think that in the third season it will be revealed that he's already achieved his goal and that the prison is currently set up there in this alternate timeline. When it comes to the character, you never really know what you're gonna get, but that's pretty much the basis of who he is and his history. He will likely forever remain a mystery, but that's what keeps him so fascinating in my opinion. I think the Academy themselves probably know as much as we do about the mysterious figure, and who knows if we'll ever fully find out the truth about him or where he comes from. Now, I'd of course love to hear your thoughts on Hargreaves, and if you agree with my theories or have any of your own. Make sure you comment below and let me know, and if you want something else to watch after this, then check out our breakdown of the Sparrow Academy, which is going to be linked at the end. We go over the main characters and also give our thoughts on what that that crazy looking box could be. Now don't forget that every month on the 15th we give away free Blu-rays, and all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning the MCU Infinity Saga box set is leave a like and subscribe with notifications on. If you want to support the channel and get to see content early, then please consider clicking the join button below. You can also come chat to us on our Discord server linked in the description, or Heavy Spoilers on Twitter. Anyway, thank you for making it until the end of the video. You've been the best, I've been Definition, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.